and welcome to our regularly scheduled Mayor and Council meeting for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. It's weird to say Tuesday and not a Monday, but hopefully everybody had a great holiday weekend. Up first, we'll do Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda with the minutes.
I just have one correction for the minutes, and I've already addressed. I've already worked with Laura on it. There was just a correction from a resident comment. They reached out to me earlier today, and it'll be corrected. It's just a word error. So with that, I have no other corrections and move to approve.
Thank you. So I have a motion to approve with the correction. Second by motion by Councilmember Orris, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the votes unanimous with all council members present. Up next is agenda item 2, and it's a proclamation 2025-12, and this is declaring Economic Development Week in Maryland and in Berlin. So, proclamation 2025-12, a proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin recognizing Maryland Economic Development Week, which is October 20th through October 20th through October 24th, 2025. Whereas the Town of Berlin is an active member of the Maryland Economic Development Association, NEDA, a nonprofit organization established in 1961, whose mission is to enhance the knowledge and skills of its members, encourage partnerships and networking among people committed to bringing jobs and capital to Maryland, and promotes economic development as an investment in Maryland. And whereas NEDA members promote statewide economic well-being by working to improve Maryland's business climate and the professionalism of those in the field of economic development, including other professionals with direct interest in the economy of Maryland, through its regular education meetings, special programs, and community-driven projects. Members address diverse issues. And whereas Economic Development Week provides the opportunity for community-minded organizations to collaborate and share strategies, programs, and best practices for advancing Maryland's economy. And whereas the economic growth and stability of the state affect all regions and jurisdictions of Maryland and the Town of Berlin, it is an important component of the state's economic success. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Town of Berlin, do hereby proclaim the week of October 20th through October 24th, 2025 as Economic Development Week in Maryland and in Berlin. So, Ivy, to you and your team, thank you for everything you do. This is just coming off of the Main Street conference in Easton, which was close to home, so a lot of good networking and a lot of good opportunities there to enhance economic development. So thank you to our team in our Economic Development Office. All right, up next is agenda item 3, and that's a presentation by Maryland Coastal Bays for the whole watershed program. We have Kevin and Roman come on board. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Sure, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. All right.
I'm Kevin Smith. I'm the director of the Maryland Coastal Bays program.
I'm Roman Jessian. I'm the science coordinator for the Coastal Bays program.
Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce the rest of the team working on this project, and Mary Boland is one of them. And if you don't mind raising your hands back there, we have Taylor Swanson with us, and we have Bob Mitchell from the county. And the other person I want to introduce is Jessica McIntosh. Jessica? That's a face you might want to get used to. We just hired her on as our coordinator for this effort. And so you'll be seeing a lot of her, and today is her first day on the job, so welcome.
It's a long day.
Sticks around, yes. Anyway, I'll just give you a little bit of background and then I'll get to what we're doing here. So a couple of legislative sessions ago, there was an act passed in the state of Maryland called the Whole Watershed Act. And what that act did is provide funding for 5 watersheds in the state. And we put a team together. I just introduced them. And I should also mention there was a member from the Lower Shore Land Trust on that team. And we put a team together to decide where in the coastal bays we would want to focus our efforts. And we considered a lot of different places and river systems here in the coastal bays, and really ended up deciding that Newport Bay would probably be the best pick for a couple of reasons. One is Newport Bay has probably, for the last 5 years anyway, seen declining health based on our report card and our monitoring over the last 15 years. So that was one reason. The other reason is that, we had a very strong relationship with the town of Berlin, with the Maryland Coastal Bays Program, doing projects here in Berlin and working with the folks here. We had a good working relationship and felt that we could just improve on that. So we put a proposal together, submitted it to the state, and we were fortunate enough to be granted one of these awards. What this award amounts to is $2 million per year for 5 years. And this started in July of this year, 2025. So the effort officially got underway of July of 2025. We just received our grant agreement from the state last week. So now we were officially underway. The other thing that's important to note is that this needs to be matched on a one-to-one basis. So that's important as well. And you can switch to the next slide. Thank you. So just a little bit about it. I know most of you are familiar with this. That's the Newport Bay watershed. It basically extends up a little bit north of 50, all the way down to kind of equal with South Point, and that bay right there. As I said, over the years we've had declining health in Newport Bay, and this is based on nutrient levels, SAVs, clams, and some other metrics that we measure. And there's a number of different reasons for that. One is land use in the area and agriculture, but the other thing that we think this is really important is is stormwater management. And so knowing that over the years Berlin has worked to improve stormwater management and improve situations with flooding, we thought that there would be an opportunity there to address those issues, which again is why we kind of chose Newport Bay as the watershed that we should be focusing on. You can switch to the next slide. And this slide really just shows, and I know you can't see this very well, some of the work that is proposed, well actually some of the work that has been completed, some of the work that is ongoing, and some of the work that is proposed in the Newport Bay watershed. Down at the bottom of that map on the left, you'll see a couple of triangles down there for projects that are under design or implementation, and those really represent marsh restoration projects in those areas. As you go up and you'll see the inset of Berlin, and it's enlarged there, you'll see a number of projects, and the ones that are in green are the ones that have been completed, and these are like the Graham Avenue Wetland Project and some other offline stormwater projects in the town of Berlin. We have 2 projects that are, one project that we are hoping to get started right away, and that is the project at Abbey Lane, which we believe will be started sometime in the next few months, if I'm correct about that, Darrell, is that right? And then the other project we have ongoing is the Hudson Branch Stream Restoration, which is right along Bottle Branch Road as you go to the treatment facility. So we're hoping to finish up design on that project in the next few months, go for permitting, and hopefully be under construction within the next 12 months on that project. We also have a couple of projects up there that we are proposing to do. And we're at the very beginning stages of these projects. And one of them that I think is very important, and one that I think you should know about, is the Bottle Branch project. And if you're familiar with Bottle Branch, basically the area that we're really focused on is the area adjacent to Buckingham Elementary. And we know that there is going to be a new elementary school that's built there. We met with the county and the architects who are working on that project to see how we could integrate a stream restoration in Bottle Branch with the school campus and how that could be integrated into the school curriculum as environmental education. So we're right in the beginning stages of doing all of that. We have a lot of work to do. We've got a little over 4 years and 9 months, I guess, to get it done. And anyway, so we have a lot going on, a lot more than that, but I didn't want to take too much of your time. So with that, I'll ask Roman if you had anything you wanted to know.
Yeah, so the basis of this whole watershed program is to show success at restoration. So there's also a major monitoring component here. 5 years is not a very good, long time to restore a watershed, but at least it's a starting point. So these projects can continue, and we'll see success from the projects as years go along. But that's a major function of the entire program, is to show some success in targeted watersheds. So there was the watershed small enough to see some results, but yet large enough to have things happen in it. We're selected for funding. So we're really excited about the program and how we can meld science and community together and get some successful results.
So the one thing that I'll add to that is there's a community engagement piece of this. And the folks from ST Coastal Trust, Taylor Swanson, and the folks from the Lower Shore Land Trust will be working with the community, because it's really important to make sure that the community is, number one, knowledgeable about what we hope to do here, and number two, supportive of what we want to do here. So that's going to be a big part of this whole effort. And with that, I think
Yeah, we'll need the whole community involved, farmers, business folks, stormwater folks. We're really excited to get everyone together working in the same direction.
So with that, I'll just say that, we really appreciate the support that the town has shown to date, and look forward to having a very mutually beneficial relationship over the next 5 years.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah. Can you go into a little more detail about what a project might entail? Let's look at the one on Bottle Branch Road that you mentioned.
Yeah, that is the Hudson Branch Stream Restoration. And basically, what that site is now is it's Hudson Branch. And it is a ditch now. It's not really much of a stream. It's ditched out many, many years ago. And what our mission and really our objectives are there is to restore that stream to more of a natural coastal plain stream that probably existed there at one time. Because one of the things that a natural stream will do, as opposed to what's there today, is it provides the opportunity to process and filter nutrients and really help improve the water quality as it leaves those streams. So, if our main goal here is to really improve the health of Newport Bay and the tidal area downstream, I think the best way that we can do that is we can address these issues that are upstream by making sure the water that's going into Newport Bay is as clean as we can get it as it moves downstream and into the tidal portion.
So on that particular ditch, there's a lot of heavy overgrowth. So you clear that out.
There will be some clearing, but really it's minimal. one of the things that we recognize is that, particularly the folks who live in Decatur Farms, which we've talked to, they really don't want to see a lot of tree clearing in that area. They like to see that, and we would like to see it remain as well. So during the design phase of this, as we're working with the engineers and whatnot, it's a process of going through what can we accomplish with minimal impact to those existing tree resources and whatnot. So I think we've been pretty judicious about how we're doing that. There will be a little bit of removal, but it's a fairly small amount and really shouldn't change the character of that area to any degree.
Kevin, on behalf of all of us, I know that you referenced some of the projects up here that are completed. Really, I want to take the opportunity, you know this, we know this, but to say it publicly, that a lot of those projects would not be able to be identified as completed without the work of your all's group and your assistance. So thank you on behalf of the town of Berlin. You've been a partner all the way through, and we're happy to continue that partnership.
Well, that's great. Thank you.
Darla, anything we maybe looked over or?
No, I just add that one of the most recent grant awards that the town has, the Chesapeake Bay Trust, is a town-wide, like a climate resiliency and flood mitigation plan that's going to be town-wide. So that combined with this watershed implementation plan, I think is going to, take it to the next level, identify projects. Those projects get identified in the next pool for funding for design, and then funding for design gets in the next pool of funding for construction. So, yeah, that got it out of this plan is anything over there.
Thank you. Anything else from the group?
I just want to say that this warmed my little stormwater heart. And I'm very, congratulations on getting the funding, and I'm very excited. I know that we spoke over the summer about, what you have planned, and you brushed on it tonight. I think it's really great, and I'm really excited to see what happens and how it goes. And I really, really am excited about the community outreach and engagement part. I know we know a lot of the same folks who sent us videos of how their stormwater looks when it flows past their house and everything. So I'm glad that you're partnering and taking this on. So.
Well, I really believe that with this kind of effort, we can really make some measurable improvements.
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win for Berlin.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, you go.
Go ahead.
No, well, I'll go fast
Ladies.
because I was truly excited. I knew that Jack was I could hear the twinkles and the rainbows and the twinkle stars down there when you said stormwater and improvement. But I have to tell you, I got really excited too when you mentioned community involvement and education. So going into the schools, you couldn't get more involved there by reaching out to the student body and educating from it. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for that part.
Thank you.
So I'm very excited as well. I did have a question for you on the must be matched on a one-to-one basis. Can we just dive into that? I know what that means, but just from the town's perspective, what would that look like per project? Is it like the design fees occur? Could you explain a little bit on that?
Well, fortunately, we have a couple of things going on which are going to provide that match. One of the things, courtesy of the county, is the county is working on moving folks from septic to public sewer, particularly along the Lewis Road area, just east of here. And the monies that are being used to do that, to move those people from septic to public sewer, are federal dollars that can be used to match these dollars. So I don't know, Bob, if you want to say anything more about that, or is that?
Yes, I think that might, at the final tally, might be close to 4 million, so we're almost halfway there. So at 50% match, that could probably be in the area of 5 million. We're almost there with that. And then some of the other projects are earned income in kind. If we spend bay restoration money or other federal grants within the watershed that we're probably going to be going after or pending or even earmarks if Lord gives us that from the feds to help with that would certainly qualify as well. So we're almost there for the 50%. So this is a great opportunity to use leverage that to get state dollars from the watershed. So.
The other thing I'll mention is that the marsh projects that I indicated in the lower portion of the watershed there are projects that we're working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service on. And the Fish and Wildlife Service is using federal dollars to do these marsh, a combination of federal and state dollars to do those projects. And the federal dollars that they're using for those projects are also able to be used as match for this project.
Bob touched on in-kind. Can staff time, labor, and things of that nature be used as the in-kind match component?
It can be, but I don't think we have that indicated in there as a line item in the budget, so it's not absolutely necessary that it be utilized, but it can be accounted for because it appears that we do have all the match that we're going to need in order to meet the state requirement.
That's great.
Well, here in the town of Berlin, we do have an issue with ditch maintenance, but that's not related to my question. My question is, how much impact, if any, would this project have on the well-being of the Chesapeake?
Zero.
None?
Well, because this is all flowing towards Newport Bay watershed, which flows, down into Chincoteague Bay and then out through Chincoteague Inlet and Ocean City. So
This goes toward the
So
ocean.
yeah, basically there's a line somewhere west of us in this town that demarcates the watershed line for what goes into the Pocomoke and what goes here into the coastal bays. Unfortunately, we cannot use any of these dollars for anything anything that's flowing towards the Pocomoke. It all has to flow in this direction. So.
All right. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. Darrell, do you have something?
One thing to add on the match, Kevin, so the big report, or maybe a broader report for the match, is that we're typically accustomed to a project-by-project basis where, for that project, to do that project, we have to match 1-for-1. Kevin, right, this is a whole program match. So with those matching dollars, especially with the county, that we can do by individual projects. That's tremendous, meaning that some of these projects that we come up are expensive, and then without that match, it'd be really tough.
So, hold on, Darrell, let me make sure I'm understanding you. That the $2 million per year, they need to have a $2 million match. So if the county were to satisfy that match, we could potentially get some of the $2 million without a match. Okay, I like that.
Right.
Bob, keep up the good work.
That's Kevin, I just wanted to.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, up next, agenda item 4. These are action items before the mayor and council, or items for approval. And before each one's action, there will be an opportunity for public comment. We're going to start with agenda item 4A, resolution 2025-07. And that's a presentation of Berlin Energy Needs and our electric utility director, Tim Lawrence, as well as AMP representative will help us navigate that report. So we appreciate it.
Dude, I love how you all matched your outfit.
And I saw him earlier today. Too funny.
Yeah, my name is Craig Kleinhans. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Power Supply for American Municipal Power.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. And you also were with staff today, so we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Just briefly before I start, what AMP is, we're the company I work for. We're a collection of municipal electric systems. So we deal with around 130 municipal electric systems all throughout the area. The whole idea is, instead of everybody going out and doing things individually, we do things collectively in order to get more economies of scale and that kind of stuff. And been working with the town here for a while. So what I'm going to talk about today is Berlin's overall power supply and some changes that we're going through. First off, looking at your overall energy source, you guys have two major resources right now. And one is what's called a requirements deal that serves the balance of your needs, and the other one is a block. The big concern here is both of those end at the end of this year, so that's why I'm here, is to talk about the next steps and what's happening going forward. When we drill into those,
So hold on, Craig, just so that everybody can understand. We purchase power through, let's start there. We purchase power through PJM. So, in essence, and what you're talking about are the options contracts that we enter into each cycle, or maybe sometimes people from the public will see us enter into those types of contracts. Some of that expires, and that's the reason that we're having this conversation now.
yeah,
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so we have contracts, the prices in PJM can be very, very volatile. And so what we do is we lock into contracts to help control those prices. And two of those contracts are expiring at the end of this year.
And the reason that we execute these contracts that are a little bit longer life cycle is the town once entered into contracts that were very short in duration. And that resulted in the higher utility bills that we had before. And this way is better, but it's important that we get a grasp on what the forward-looking outlook looks like.
Absolutely.
Typically, how long are those contracts for?
We vary the length. So you'll see there's some that are a couple of years, up to like 5 years in length. We also look at longer-term PPAs that we offer, and then we also have some members of my organizations where we build full-long assets that go out. The debt service goes out 30 years, and that power plant can be around for a long time. So it can vary.
Power purchase agreement. A lot of people don't understand what PPA is.
Yeah.
So, just trying to help you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
You're going to get a lot of glazed eyes.
Okay, so the two contracts that we have right now, we had one that we locked in some of these several years ago, and this is going to get important when I get to the next slide. The first one is a requirements deal. It's a contract that serves the balance of your energy needs, and it does that at a fixed price. We bought that back in 2020. So remember, file that away until we get to the next slide. And then the other one we bought in August of 23. And the reason this gets important is when we look at an overall price of power. So this is a price of power all the way since 2000. You also notice I have natural gas on there because natural gas and power prices move in unison because a lot of our power is generated by natural gas power plants. When we look historically, the United States was short natural gas. We were having to start to import that. And you can see very high prices back in the early 2000s. We had a very large change. That was shale natural gas and fracking and all of that. That created an excess of natural gas. And we had 15 years of very low stable prices because all of this excess natural gas. Now, if you remember, I said we purchased that last contract back in 2020. You can see we almost hit the bottom of the market perfectly. That was really great. That meant we got a really good deal. But that means that we're probably going to pay more now for that contract when we replace. What's happened more recently, we've started to export a lot of natural gas. All of this natural gas that we found in the United States, we're exporting a lot. It's going overseas to Europe, Asia, and even and Mexico. That's put a tighter constraint, as well as it's a lot more difficult to move natural gas around the country to build pipelines, and that has also constrained the market. So now we are seeing higher prices. You can see prices spiked in 2022, come down since then, and have been relatively stable the last couple of years. But those prices now are markedly higher than where we were back in the 20-teens. So now I'm going to start talking about contracts that we have going forward. We already have one contract in place. This is a contract to buy power, or a power purchase agreement, from a wind farm that's located in Ohio. This is an existing wind farm, so it's not a new, it's a facility that's been around for over 15 years. We're just entering into it, we've entered into a contract to buy power through 2029 from this facility at a fixed price. So this is what your current portfolio looks like. We have the black line across the top, that's your overall needs. And then you can see different resources stacked in there. And then that red and white area is open position. And when we look at 2026, we have a small amount locked in with the Blue Creek Wind Farm, but we have a fair amount of open needs. And that's what we're going to be talking about, the process of filling those open needs tonight. So we're looking at two different purchases. The first one is not something that we need an additional resolution for. So back several years ago, we passed a resolution to purchase power for 2023 through 2028. And that enabled us to purchase baseload power, so power that you always need. And we do that for up to 2 megawatts. That's that one contract that I showed was expiring, the blue one. And right now, we're looking at a price to purchase that power of around $51 a megawatt hour. That equates to 5 cents a kilowatt hour. To give you some sense of comparison, our current deal for Constellation is about 4.5 cents a kilowatt hour. So not a big change, but a little bit of a price increase. So that's a purchase that we're planning here on making in the coming weeks.
What does that look like for our average consumer?
So I have a chart that shows, because we have several things that are compounding. We have this contract going up, the next contract, the requirements deal I'll talk about, that's the one that's going up the most. We also have some transmission and capacity cost increase. So I'll get to the end, if you let me get to if that's okay, to kind of show what all of this compounds to. The big contract increase is the requirements deal. This is the one that we purchased back in 2020. And back then we purchased about 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And now we're expecting that contract is almost twice as much, closer to 7 cents a kilowatt hour. This is one that we will need a new ordinance, a resolution for. So we'll need that today to purchase. And that'll give us authority to purchase through 2030.
I don't mean to interrupt, I just want to make sure it's 70, not 7. You said 7. So
7 cents a kilowatt hour?
Oh,
Okay.
Kilowatt
So,
versus megawatt.
yeah, so on the wholesale side, we deal in dollars per megawatt hour. I understand you guys deal in cents per kilowatt hour, so I was just converting that on the fly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
it doubles, just like bridges stuff.
Yeah, it doubles. Yeah. So with that, we're looking for approval to go out through 2030 to purchase a requirements deal. The current plan is we probably will purchase 2 years. So what this will do is it'll give the mayor, the town administrator, authority to make that purchase up through 2030, but we'll probably just purchase 26 and 27. We might purchase 28 if we get good prices. And we'll look, and we were talking today about possibly going all the way out through 2030. So we're still dying on that.
So is double the rate considered a good price now?
Yeah, so that is considered a decent price. This is for the very top part of your portfolio, one of the more expensive types of products, but it reduces a lot of risk. So that's one of the things when you guys look at your rates year over year, it's been pretty consistent, is because we have this locked in. And so it is more expensive, but that's also because we've been seeing more volatility in the market right now.
So how does that,
Could you describe that risk?
Yeah, so the nice thing about this contract is it will provide exactly what you need at a fixed price. So if it's a really hot day in the summer where those air conditioners are working really hard and the price of power is really expensive, it provides that at $70 a megawatt hour. To give you an example, this summer we saw prices over $1,000 a megawatt hour. Now on a day like today, the market's closer to $50 a megawatt hour. And that contract here instead of buying from the hourly market at 50, you're buying it at 70. But it's providing you that certainty that, on those really expensive times that you guys have protection from that.
And does this go into effect January 1 or our fiscal year?
This would go into effect January 1.
Okay, so people will see this increase with their January bill.
Yes.
so now, Greg, you're talking about the possibility of buying out through 2030, but the recommendation would be in 2-year blocks
So
at this time.
So what we're looking at right now is that we would buy the 7x24, that top recommendation that we already have
Go back to that slide. Are we talking about slide 7?
So we've got this slide here, there's two different purchase recommendations.
Right.
There's the top one that we already have authority to do, so we're buying underneath that authority. We will probably buy that one through 2028. And then the requirements deal, we're talking if we can get a price, we've gotten some price quotes from the market when we get final price quotes, but we were talking that if we can get a stable price all the way through 2030, i.e., so if the price to buy next year is the same as the price to buy all the way through 2030, we'd look at locking that in through all the way through 2030.
So now, your perspective on the market is that it's going to continue to increase? How does that work with, like, how does it correlate with other changes in the economy? Or is it not impacted by that?
It definitely is. You know, there's unique things that are happening within the electric industry. One of the big things is data centers.
Right.
So there's a lot of large new loads coming on that's making the price of power more expensive and more volatile. There's a lot of other things that are going in. It's much more difficult to build power plants. When we looked this time last year, it was very difficult to build fossil fuel generation, natural gas power plants. Right now, it's switched. It's more difficult to build renewables with the tariffs and things. And so the energy industry has seen a lot of volatility, and it makes it much more difficult to build power plants. That's a long way of saying there's a lot of uncertainty. Demand's going up, nobody's building anything.
So now, hold on, if you don't mind. So like when I read things like certain data center providers wanting to bring on like nuclear energy to handle some of their demand, how does that impact the market, and what changes would we see if some of that pressure is alleviated?
So if a new data center is coming in and they're bringing new generation, that helps to offset that data center. The real problem is all of the data centers that get built that don't have new generation to offset them. And that's mostly what we're seeing right now is a lot of new data centers coming in, and they're not bringing generation. They're just rushing to the system to try to gobble up what available resources there are on the system currently.
Okay, so when we're looking forward into options that might extend to 28 or even to 2030, is there a way to structure the deals that we would buy a certain portion as we head out further, the block that we buy is lower, to hedge some of that, or is it not advisable?
I think that it makes a lot of sense to put a decent sized hedge out through 2030, so that's where I'm kind of at with the requirements, like let's
But
not
still
hedge.
keeping a little buffer in case we get some.
Yeah, so to give away the ending a little bit, your rates are going up.
Thank you.
But compared to the surrounding rates, I mean, compared to Delmarva Power and Light, you guys are cheaper, and we're expecting that to continue. We're looking at Tim's bill.
I actually got my chop tank bill in the mail today, and I brought it here and had him look at it just to figure out per kWh what chop tank was. So we are a lot lower than chop tank and Delmarva Power.
Does that still give us some margin? Because I know we want to do our rate case.
Right.
I know that we need to make some investments, and we've been holding off on that.
Right.
Is this going to preclude us from doing that without hurting the consumer?
So I can speak,
Everybody gets quiet there.
I can speak to the wholesale side.
Okay.
And based on the increases that we see on the wholesale side, and when I add that to your existing cost, you guys should continue to be below Delmarva's rates.
Okay.
So Tim, how much lower are we?
Well, we're at, what is it?
Yeah.
I'll jump to the end.
If you look at this screen right now, we're at 13.7 cent per kWh. Delmarva Power is 20.06 cent kWh, and Chop Tank is 19.6 cent per kWh. So we're significant.
So January 1, we're going to add another 3.5 cents to that plus.
Yeah, so I'm showing that with the energy contract increasing, there's also something called capacity that's been increasing, and we're at about a 2.5 cent a kilowatt hour is what we're expecting with all of those things combining what we're expecting an overall increase.
Can we go to your N-1? I'd like to talk about slide 19, because I wrote a note, OREX, and typically we pay our penalty for SREX because it's more expensive to buy the SREX than it is to just take the penalty. If we're buying renewable, will this satisfy our requirement? Maybe now is a question for you, Public Service Commission wise, so we're not having to pay the penalty. Go ahead.
So we either pay the penalty or we buy REX, whichever is cheaper.
Right.
So last year in 2024, it was cheaper to pay the penalty.
And the year before, I think, was the same way.
Yeah, looking at REX, REC prices have come down. So REC prices have come down a little bit. So it looks like this year, based on the prices I'm seeing, I'm expecting that we probably will end up purchasing REX. We will get REX with the Blue Creek Wind contract.
Okay.
But the contracts we're talking about today, we will not get REX. We will have to go out and purchase those separately.
But some of the stuff with Blue Creek will satisfy the.
They will help to hedge. I would have to look and see if they will be a straight 1-to-1.
Does the state allow us a 1-to-1 on OREX and SREX, or no?
It has to be either or, so we're purchasing some of it, but whatever is not satisfied, we're gonna look either again, whatever is cheaper, either penalties for the next contract tracks.
I didn't know if they defined like a percentage that we could use for SREX versus a percentage that we could use for OREX, or if they just said get it from renewables and this is how much you need to
I
get.
think it's driven in what we have purchased.
Okay.
It's not by a certain percent, right? But it depends on what we are locked in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it depends on how much is actually purchased, and that dictates how much of
Whatever
a
the,
rec
yes,
you need
whatever
to
the
offset.
contract we're in, that's what it dictates for the recs to be.
Yeah, it's based on your overall load. And,
Right.
Yeah. So we do that, I believe, at the end of the year.
So I'm going to jump in now. Just for clarity, our REC is a renewable energy.
Yeah, I realized
And an OREC is a,
Their wind,
is that this thing?
wind is an OREC, S is solar.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
For
so,
everybody out there.
yeah, RECs are renewable energy credits. It's the right to call power green. That right can be bought and sold. It's a commodity. And then there's different types of RECs. There's generic RECs. There's Maryland RECs. There's Maryland solar RECs. Now that offshore wind is becoming a thing, there's offshore wind RECs. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the other slide. Thank you, though, for clearing that up. I just want to, I think this is where the mayor was going, and I just want to make sure I'm clear. So are you recommending that we should do the $70 price till 2030?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Tim, you support that? Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question.
So the conversation we had earlier, Craig is gonna do the homework and do the magic when he gets back to the office.
Okay.
He's gonna try to lock that price till 2030 if possible. But we're gonna purchase blocks of 2 for the price of
Okay.
whatever is available and hold on after 2 years, hoping that it's gonna go down.
So that requirements deal, that most expensive piece, we're going to buy through 2030. And then that other piece, we're going to have just for a 2-year deal. And then that'll leave us, so that'll kind of stair step it again so that we don't have everything rolling off. And, yeah.
So actually, so my other question then, it kind of rolls in. I know that I remember we had talked a while ago about we have, what is it, 2, forgive me, it's 2 electric generators and 1 natural gas?
Yeah, we have 2 diesel, and then we have 1 natural gas.
Were we hoping to get all natural gas?
Well,
or were we not?
we're exploring a couple options. Ideally, we would like all natural gas, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
We're also trying to figure out if, and that's kind of a separate component as to what
Okay.
Greg was talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm not
'cause
on the
that's-
water, I just was.
That's the peak shaving side that we operate in conjunction with you all, but, right?
So this is a perfect segue. I can get into, I'm going to jump back. So we kind of talked about the energy
glaze over here.
When you go through the slides, we just.
No, it is totally fine. So transmission, this is the cost of building and maintaining the high voltage power lines. When you see those big steel structures that go throughout the state, we have to pay Delmarva Power and Light a cost for that. And that's called transmission costs. You can see those have been steadily increasing. Yellow is where we are now. On the left-hand side, which is about double where we've seen costs historically. We're expecting that to continue to increase just as Delmarva's costs increase for transmission. This transmission makes up about $5 a megawatt hour or about 1/2 cent a kilowatt hour on your overall rates. There's another cost, and this is a little bit more of an abstract one, so I'll kind of try to keep it at a high level. But it's a cost to make sure there's enough power plants at the time of the peak. It's a reliability charge. And if you think about that hot summer day and all those air conditioners are running, you want to make sure you have enough power plants. You don't want to wait to count those power plants till the last minute and realize you don't have enough because you have a blackout. So they have a market for this to make sure there's enough power plants out there. And that market has been changing a lot. And it's been going up a lot. That white bar is what the Berlin's capacity costs are to your overall rate. But that red bar shows with your generation that you have here in the town, what you're actually paying. And I want to point to the right-hand side. This is why Delmarva's costs have been going up so much. It's because of this capacity market. This is one, I mean, there's other reasons, but this is a big one. And you can see a couple years ago, capacity, that white bar was only $5 a megawatt hour or 1/2 cent a kilowatt hour. And now you can see it's all the way up close to $23 a megawatt hour or 2.3 cents a kilowatt hour. So that's a 2 cent a kilowatt hour rate increase over a year and a half, 12 months, which is a huge increase. So this, you guys aren't seeing that. You guys are seeing half of that impact because you guys have the generation here in town. And so you can see your costs right now are only 1.2 cents instead of that 2.3 cents. So that's your generators right now. On 2025, this year, we're expecting them to generate a little over $500,000 in revenue from lowering your transmission and your capacity costs. And next year, that grows to close to $700,000. That capacity market is really going up because nobody's building anything, and we have new data centers, new big loads coming in. That's where the scarcity is really showing up right now and creating a lot of upward pressure. In fact, the state of, like right now, the state of governor of Pennsylvania got very upset with where the prices were headed and mandated a price cap for the entire region, which includes Maryland as well, for the next 2 years, because he was worried. It went up and they were expecting it to almost double again. You can see it doubled a couple of times and they were expecting it to double again, and he stepped in to keep a price cap on there. But that's a real problem right now.
Are we capped on output from the peak shaving plant?
On how much? It gets very difficult if you put in more generation than your town's overall load.
Why?
Because you're pushing it back onto the system and you have to go through extra studies in order to push back onto the system. Typically the system...
Is it worth exploring or not?
It might be if the project is right. But as far as right now, like what you guys have been doing and putting those units in has looked like a really good idea.
So let's throw this out there. We have, so like a factory, right? Let's say I'm making potato chips, but my customers, I'm only able to sell 20 cartons to, but my plant could really hold 100. What about selling that extra capacity? So realistically, the CAT generator,
Right.
what does that produce versus the diesel?
The Caterpillar, for example, the natural gas engine, that's about 1.8 megawatts.
Right,
the
and
other
we really
one-
need about 5-ish.
Well, total, we have like 5.4.
But we also have 4 banks or 5 banks where engines used to be?
5.
That's what I thought. So what happens if we, for revenue potential side, partner with somebody like DP&L or Chop Tank to help sell capacity, but we still get some of the generation side, or is it not a worthwhile endeavor?
So the rules change. So right now, when you guys put in generation, they look at it as lowering the town's load.
Right.
When you all of a sudden start pushing back on the system, they don't look at you as a load anymore. The rules change to, you'll get looked at as a generator.
What about if we had a partner that we were assisting with load?
Yeah, and we do have several communities that are able to push back onto the system, that have more generation in their communities than load. It's not something that's, it's something that you can do, it just changes things. So you can't get negative transmission credit, so that gets capped. Right now, that's not the big piece is capacity.
Right.
And the way they treat capacity for generators, they have to buy more generation than what they have load in order to provide a safety margin.
Explain that one more time.
So when they're out there buying, so this is all
that?
PJM, which
Okay.
operates the big markets of the area.
Right.
So when they operate the market for the area, they have to go out and buy extra safety margin.
That's your previous slide, that's 14, that's the safety line.
Yeah, so when they go out, they buy extra for the safety. So they're buying more generation and then they're billing it over a smaller load.
Okay.
So when you are running generation that lowers your load, you don't have to buy that extra safety margin.
Okay.
When you are a generator selling into the market, you don't get credit for that. You're getting a lower price. The generators get a lower price than what load is paying.
Lower as in how much lower? Do you have a rule of thumb?
It depends. It's between 20 to 50% depending on how they calculate the
Decrease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it depends on the type of generator, and the rules have been changing a lot recently.
Because our challenge is the cost of each generator, right?
Very-
So they're $10, $12 million to put in?
Well, the one that we did in 19 was like 2.3 million, and if you go to do it today, that's about 5 million.
Okay.
And we're seeing
10
that.
because we needed two, right?
What's that?
I got the 10 in my head because we needed two.
Needed two.
There we go.
We're seeing, and that's a problem across the industry of like, we installed a bunch of generation as well recently, and the cost now that the projects we're looking to do going forward, just from a couple of years ago, are double. So we're still able to like start to pencil them in, that they work economically. But yeah, the stuff that you guys installed and our other communities installed several years ago looks like.
Are you seeing anybody that's using battery storage?
We talked about that.
Okay, all right.
We talked about it.
Because and the reason this group might not even be aware, MEA has a grant for battery capacity. So Tim and I and Mary and some of the other staff have worked together with a potential battery storage company for something like this, right? Since the two generators on here are relatively old.
Yeah.
Do you have experience with that? Can you share?
Yeah, so batteries can be really good at peak shaving, to be like a generator, to run at these high capacity and transmission need times. They're really good at that. The primary reason a lot of people are putting in batteries is for a different function of the market right now. We have seen batteries go into several of our member communities and those projects be successful, where a lot of them are a third party owns the battery. They're using that battery 95% of the time for something called frequency response, and then 5% of the time it shifts over to peak shaving, just like your generators.
Okay. So is there a way, when we start talking about the blocks, right? Is there a way that we can satisfy the smaller portion of the block, maybe with a strategy like that?
So when we look, your generators right now are primarily running to lower your capacity and your transmission
Right.
costs, which is totally separate from the energy.
Right. But what you just described is like 5% and something else. Is that what you're talking about?
So 95% of the time, most of the people are using those batteries for something called frequency response. It's like when you go, your 2-year-old flips the light switch up and down.
I got a 6-year-old who
A
does that.
6-year-old, okay, great. There's a generator that has to go up and down, right?
Sorry, Tim.
To account for that light going on and off. And so instead of a power plant doing that, they do that. Batteries do that now, and that's what's called frequency response. And so that's what we've seen majority of the batteries in the area be installed for, is that frequency response. It's not something that we really worry about. So that's why a lot of times we see communities partner with a third party that puts in the battery for frequency response. And then during the times of high usage, it switches over to doing peak shaving to help control capacity and transmission costs.
So we could do both with that.
Yeah, so somebody else would, yeah. But right now, we're not really seeing much batteries installed for energy reasons.
Okay.
That energy
How does that frequency, and Tim, maybe that's you, but how does that play into the cost of us doing business?
So frequency is a very, very small line item on your overall bill. Right. It's something that we typically ignore.
Because it's so small.
Because it's so small. But these people are putting in batteries to supply that for the whole grid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the whole grid.
For the whole
I
grid,
see.
yeah, so they,
Okay.
so in some of our municipalities, somebody will come in, they'll install the battery to sell that frequency to the grid.
Gotcha.
And then they'll take a break during the summer, the hot summer days to do peak shaving. like we do
Now I
with
understand.
generators.
Thank you.
Tim, how much more useful life do our diesel generators have?
Well, you got to figure, the Fairbanks was built in 1961. And the EMD, the big engine, 2.5 megawatt, that was built in 1978. Then the natural gas engine was 2019.
The part that gets us is the change in emissions.
Yeah, so, the Fairbanks engine, I mean, that thing's like a tank. So it, I don't know.
She'll
if
still
it'll
run,
work.
but she just produces a
I mean,
lot more.
It just keeps running, and, I mean, you got some age on both the diesel engines.
Just need a good roll of duct tape.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot over there to keep them going, so, and, we've hit every peak, I mean, we really done our best at it. Saves the, ratepayers, a lot of money per year, so.
But really, ideally, we need to look at, and I know you have and your team have, but we, as a town, need to look at replacing those two diesel generators with something that's more of the time and more reliable, because if we miss a peak, the 2026 projection is 687,000, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, we've looked at, several, vendors concerning, replacing the diesel engines with natural gas, but, financially, it just didn't pencil out the numbers, as far as, credit back to the town and what we would be paying them to install the equipment.
So I'm not saying this, I'm just throwing this out here right now, but something like this to save up for, like a funding source, that LDC would qualify for this, right? Because it's capital? No?
It's an enterprise fund.
Oh, 'cause it's
What we really
I think
need is
that's
a rate
where we
study.
snagged on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
it's an enterprise.
Craig, if there's a way, and you're from Ohio? Where-
Yeah.
So on your flight home, when you're thinking about this conversation,
You got a few.
if you can think of a way that it makes sense, knowing that we have five slots for engines, and we really need probably two and a half maybe, but 3 would be nice
Okay.
for our load, right, Tim? And if we can find a way to partner with somebody for the other 2 slots.
I'd like to see it back at like 10 megawatts.
Yes,
That's where we used to do it.
oh, production-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The power plant.
And
At one point, we used to have 10 megawatts. of
can we sell that? Like, we can sell up to 10?
Yeah, I mean, I look
Greg
at
doesn't
it,
look so happy about it.
No, I think you guys, because when you look at your peak load, I mean, you guys are 10 to, like in the summertime, your CP,
Yeah, I mean,
10 megawatts probably would.
sometimes we hit 12, 13 megawatts.
So 2 times 5, 2.5 times 5, we could carry having 5 natural gas generators, right?
You can pretty much carry the town if need be. You gotta remember, it does 2 things. We only have one transmission line feeding the town. So if that line was to go down, which it has a few times since I've been here, and I think the longest was when it fell on Route 113 at
Yeah.
that hospital. We were out, I don't know, 5-6 hours.
Nice warm weather, too.
Yeah, it was. And, I look at it for 2 things. It's peak shaving, then I also look at it as a backup to the town. In that case, to carry the entire town, it need be. Now, there'll be certain times, we could be pushing down 14 megawatts or something during the winter, for example, and if something was to go seriously wrong, we couldn't carry the entire town, but we could carry 80%, 85%.
If we were at the 10, you're saying?
Right, it all depends on what the load is, the time of year, the load, and, the output of the generation.
I would like to see an analysis, if it's not with AMP, maybe it's in combination with Booth and Associates, but I would like to see something that says, knowing that the capacity charges are going up, it sounds like the transmission side, even if we had 10, we could still capitalize on that, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to see what that is, and then a long-term, like, we can't buy 4 natural gas generators in a year, but maybe we buy one every 3 years with the intention to get 5. I would like to see what that looks like.
Yeah. I think we definitely could work together.
It's interesting. I'm just thinking about the cost of adding the other 2 generators.
Yeah, it's, I mean, just with what we have, we're looking at almost $700,000 in savings next year. I mean, if we were to add to that, maybe even more savings.
Would you need to add personnel, line equipment?
No, not on the distribution side, but power plant side, we might have to add one more person.
But, I mean, the new CAT is nice.
Yeah, I mean, the natural gas engines, I mean, you push a button on that thing, it goes to 1,800 RPM in 10 seconds.
Can't we even farm some of it out for peak shaving because it can be controlled remotely?
You can, yeah. In fact, the vendor that we were dealing with, that they actually monitor it remotely, started remotely and all that. But you always want to have somebody at the power plant in case something was to go wrong.
So, for now, assuming this, circling back here a little bit, assuming we get all this approved tonight, to Councilmember Ner's point, we're looking at a, what was it, 4.1 cent?
Well, it's 3.5 plus 2.5.
So 6.
An increase.
So
What's the increase for the consumer?
Yeah, so this chart here shows your overall wholesale power cost. Right now, you guys have been sitting right around 6 cents a kilowatt hour. We're looking at to go to 7.7 cents a kilowatt hour, or $77 a megawatt hour. So that's about a 2.5 to 3 cent a kilowatt hour increase. Now you notice out there for 28, 29, 30, a little bit of an increase. That's because with the peaking plant, we assume a 66% chance of hitting those peaks. So we're just being conservative out there. If we continue to hit the peaks like we have been, we should continue to stay right in that 7.5 to 8 cents a kilowatt hour range.
Can you do us a favor, Tim, Greg, Kate, maybe work together on some information that we can push out? I think pushing it out early to folks, if we can anticipate that coming, because typically, Natalie, the billing cycle's longer, and we already get people calling in. Let's get a little ahead of that to say, if you're thinking about putting your Christmas lights up, maybe, or pull down for January, you know what I mean? I mean, I think some proactive messaging could go a long way.
And then also, I just make sure I understand this, I'm sorry, then I'll be done on this. So, future long-term planning for these, just looking at these numbers, would I be correct in that if we, for whatever reason, we're unable to peak generate, this would all go, right? That you would all, so what I'm getting at is we need to make sure that we're always able to peak.
And Tim and his crew do a great job of that, but it's like timing the.
Yeah, I'm sorry, equipment.
That increase from 77 up to 90 is a third of the impact that you guys said.
I wasn't, Tim does a great job, so does his crew. I'm worried about the equipment.
Like I said, it's getting some age.
Yeah, it's.
Bottom line to the consumer. Have currently I pay $150 per month. How much would my bill increase?
That was a question that I actually cannot answer right this second.
But in our messaging, let's try to ballpark that.
Yeah.
Like an average consumer.
So give me a ballpark now.
I don't think they can.
So you guys, so.
Oh, Greg might.
He's got calculated.
So how much are you currently paying?
150.
150.
You're close enough.
Yeah, so then 2.5 would be an extra $25 If I do
So
my math quickly.
175.
So from 150 to 175.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, it depends on your usage and, yeah.
What's your margin of error, right?
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus $136.70.
The number of
Service change, that's a ballpark.
That's significant.
Yeah, It's not, yeah, it is a significant increase, you know. I mean, it's good news, bad news. It's bad news that there's an increase. The good news is we've got,
It's a lot less than it could be.
it's a lot less than it could be, helped in a large part because of the peaking plant that you guys have, as well as some other things, and you guys are definitely below the surrounding areas. But that doesn't take away the pain of an increase, I understand that.
And your message is not a new message, it's newer for electric, but understand that we are seeing that each budget cycle, right, in the past few years, costs have been going up, sometimes astronomically. So, thank you.
Since January.
We appreciate it.
What about Chop Tank? They're kind of on par with us, or are they still higher?
They're actually
Higher.
19.6 cents per kWh. We're 13.7.
Yeah, based on when I calculated off of his usage, which is a little bit different from this usage, but it looks to me that they're much higher than.
19-ish.
I wanted to mention one more thing. With the new AMI metering system, electric meters, there's going to be a web portal for the customer to look at, which is real-time usage. So, like we're talking about reducing power and that type of thing, so they'll actually be able to go to the web portal. Let's say their air conditioner kicks on, they can actually see what it's doing to their usage. So that will help them to make adjustments, you know, like maybe not run the air conditioner so high, you know, so low where it runs more, that type of thing. So with the AMI system, it will help reduce energy usage a lot.
So when I tell Charlie to put on an extra sweatshirt or something like that, he's gonna get mad and say, call Tim.
Tell me, blame it on me.
Well, my girls are already mad about the shower, so my boys will yell me mad. Video game. Equal opportunity, I love this town. Thank you.
All right, Greg, we appreciate it. We do need an action item, Resolution 2025-07. Before we do that, we'll take any comments from the public. Everybody's enjoying energy talk. Okay, perfect. We'll take action by the council. Craig is. Any action by the council?
Motion to approve. Motion, what is this?
Resolution
2025-07.
Second.
So a motion by Councilmember Nichols, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the votes unanimous. Craig, we greatly appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And thank you for entertaining our questions.
Yeah, I got a lot of light to the situation.
Travel. I love that. Travel safe. Thank you.
Before we move on to the next, I just want to, we have, like, especially for energy in the winter months, I believe we do have like a town assistance
Audit.
program for folks who might need help with their bills. That's
You're talking about Shore Ups Energy.
I thought we had like something here in the town. That we,
So we used to do energy audit.
Still do.
We
Okay.
still do, but not, you need to call and request
Right.
an energy audit, right, Tim?
correct.
And then the Shore Up program, Natalie, do you want to take that and just share the
That's
news?
based on applicants, they have to submit the paperwork and qualify for that. I think what you referred is, what we've done in the past is energy assistance, which is purely driven by donations from the citizens, and we match from the town. That's normally done during the holidays, but we haven't started that yet. We have a couple of discussions going on. It is not administered any longer by the Shore Up, so there's a
Okay.
couple of details we need to figure it out.
Okay, I just wanted, I mean.
But there is not a fund that a customer could call in and request assistance, not in the town. They could call different agencies and we can provide lists and names of the customer service if anybody needed.
Okay.
But Shore Up is number one.
I just wanted to throw that out there with the increases, if there's anyone that needs any assistance, there's resources available.
Yes.
Okay. That was all.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig. All right, Up next, agenda item 4B, motion 2025-56, and that's the approval of the Franklin Avenue well and water tower emergency repairs. And Mary Boland, your running point.
The invoice for this work is attached. It gives a better explanation on it, but it's more work associated with the Franklin Avenue well water tower issue.
The water leak we had.
Yes.
Minor
Yes.
leak. Where do we stand at legit? Any
We
pushback?
got word today, actually I was going to talk to you after this, but we got word today that they have a cap of $25,000 for any single pipe replacement. So we had 2 break. One, they are not going to give us anything for because of the age of the pipe, and the other one we're getting the $25,000. So out of almost $110,000, we're getting $25,000 from insurance.
Something,
Something.
yeah, exactly.
Can we have the age limit that they'll insure up to?
They had an engineer come out and they said it was the deterioration of the pipe, and so they didn't say it was specifically a certain time frame. They just said that the shape of the pipe showed significant wear over time, and that they were not going, it was natural wear and tear basically. So yeah.
It was terrible.
And Jamie hasn't heard that either, so sorry, Jamie, you're
Sorry,
hearing that on Facebook maybe.
All right, so thank you. Mary, anything else to add to the invoice we received from? Good. Okay, sorry. Any comments from the public regarding motion 2025-56? Seeing none, take action by the council. What was that?
Motion to approve.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Orts.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Green. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Let the record reflect the vote's unanimous. And motion 2025-56 passes. Thank you. Up next is motion 2025-57, and that's the declaration of surplus property. And our Chief of Police, Arnold Downey's going to run point.
And it will be actually 2 vehicles, one for the electric department, one for the police department.
Very nice.
Ours is a Ford Interceptor. It actually has been in the boneyard for 18 months to 2 years, and we've been using it for parts, and Ocean City's actually been using it for parts. We want to pull the title and go ahead and allow them to stay totally scrap it. It's no further use for us.
Thank you. Yep.
While I have the mic, I'd like to go ahead and thank the electric department and Tim's crew for coming out and trimming all of the pine trees in the back of our station that was falling on all the police cars and on the back. The guys there did a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Chief. Go ahead, Tim.
As far as surplus sale, we had the small bucket truck, which is a 2007 Ford F550. The mileage on it is 60,000, but the wear and tear on the hydraulic system and the boom is probably 300,000. This was the vehicle that we ordered the new bucket truck to replace 2.5 years ago, and we just received that truck a couple of weeks ago. So this is the truck that new truck was replaced.
Alan, Charles, and Paul were out using it today.
Yep.
And I stopped and said, "How's the new truck?" They said, "Oh, it's much faster."
Oh, they love the new truck. That truck is like 10 times faster than the other one. So.
And when we're putting personnel in the bucket to go up, it's much safer too. So.
That is correct.
Thank you. Well, any questions for Tim or Chief Down? Okay. Any comments from the public before we action the surplus items? Okay. Take action by the council.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Councilmember Orts. Second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, let the record reflect that the motion 2025-57 passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next are the departmental reports, town administrator, and then the departmentals that we have in the back.
I do have a couple of things. I'm going to give a shout out to Sarah. She organized a very successful day with the folks from RCN, the connectivity grant program that we have been trying to work with. MDOT-SHA was there. It was just a really good day. We were able to show them on the ground the areas that were problems and the areas where we're hoping that they will envision solutions. So definitely kudos to Sarah for a very good day. Note that Town Hall will be closed this Friday, October 17th, for the continuing saga of records management, so that staff can...
Or paperless.
Nowhere near paperless. We could probably build furniture out of the boxes of records that we have. The only other thing that I had is Jamie wanted me to just, again, put out that we are still seeking consent forms for the lead service line replacement project. The areas that they're working on right now are Broad Street, William Street, and Bay Street up to this side of 113. Anyone with any questions, concerns, please reach out to the Water Resources Department for those forms.
Thank you. Any questions for Mary or anything in the packet for the departmentals?
I don't have a question, but I did want to give just a shout out to Jimmy and the Public Works crew about the trees around Stephen Decatur Park. I actually received a resident concern about that, and they had already been in the planning process of addressing it. So I just want to give like a special shout out for already being a little proactive and taking care of it after I sent an email from the resident.
Anything else? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the public. Any comments from the public this evening? Yes, just we know each other, but name, street name, and come forward to the microphone. You don't have to give your address, like the house number. I like the enthusiasm.
Ryan and Kate Nellens.
Thank you. Street name.
Oh, yeah, Broad Street.
Thank you.
So we've had a lot of fun over the last couple of months. I don't know if any of you have had anybody knocking on your door and running away in the middle of the night, but it's been a really great time. So, you know what? I wrote it all down. I don't even need to. Probably at least a dozen times over 6 or 7 discrete incidents, even before this weekend, starting in about June. We've had kids run up, knock on the door, run away. First few times, it was kind of funny. Scared them. Everything out of the wife and kids. And, okay, haha, dog ditch. I was an honored kid, right there with her. This escalated through the summer, up to, well, it was a full moon, and we had like 3 days in a row where they're coming out, beat on the door, later and later and later, up to like 11:30 at night. Everybody's jumping up out of bed. What in the hell is this? Put cameras up. By the time we put cameras up, the crew that was running around was about 12 kids deep. I counted. That's a gang. Like I said, we put cameras up and we called BPD a number of times for a number of different things, because kids just like to get crazy in an intersection. And it started up again Saturday after midnight. Bang on the door. Everyone in the house jumps up out of bed. Like, the hell is this? Like, again, we have cameras up. Nobody's bothered us since we've had cameras. And we're not the only people in town that have had issues with ding dong ditch or having the windows on their doors broken, like on Graham Avenue. I believe it's William Street, my mistake. Not even 24 hours later, and we did call BPD for that, and the kid did flee through the neighbor's yard, so we have kids jumping over 6-foot privacy fences to get away from the police, which is not a good way to do things. For them, not for you guys. Thank you.
Not for us either.
Not even 24 hours later, at 7:30 on Sunday night, we got the next round, which was people in masks. I don't mean a Halloween mask. I mean gaiters pulled up like some sort of redneck ninja, kicking on the door and running off. We have cameras, but now things are escalating.
Well, we
We called BPD.
Sunday night, so we called them, and they said that someone else on Paladin had already called. So they probably had already like hit other houses previous to Sunday night, but that was the first time we were actually aware that someone else had called BPD for the same thing. And Sunday night, they didn't just beat on the door, they turned around and kicked it full force. And I looked it up, it's a TikTok trend. So it's a thing.
Cool.
It's going around. There was another police department in either California or Florida that had put out a big notice on their Facebook saying, this is a thing where your children make sure someone's going to get hurt, especially if it was for a range shot. So.
And there have been kids that have gotten injured and killed through this
From
too.
this TikTok thing.
Because of this specifically.
But it's always between 11 and midnight,
Well,
and it's a huge gang of kids, and they're always around across the street from us. It's that town center, and they're hanging out around there, or they're in the median, the four-way right there.
beyond that, and like I said, we have called BPD and we have gone through this. My concern, because this is, now we're jumping over fences, now we're showing up and beating on people's doors in groups with face coverings on, which is, man, I don't like that. I would like for you to consider a curfew for unaccompanied minors, with exceptions, of course, for school and work and church and all that. But my concern is very much one of safety, of feeling safe in our home, because I don't know if you've had somebody beat on your door and wake you up in the middle of the night. It is not a kind thing. It has happened too many times. I am very much concerned for the safety of these kids. The only reason that I stopped being an ornery kid was because I learned. They haven't had that chance yet.
Chief, have our cameras throughout town caught similar, like, if you have cameras and you've shared that footage?
Yeah.
Have our cameras downtown caught these folks without masks and hoods and face coverings on?
Again, we actually, the pictures they have no mask on the first one. And again, we did end up chasing them, and again, that's really where we are.
Are there laws against posting those photos if they're minors? Or can we put the faces?
I don't think we need to put the faces. I think the statement needs to be is parents, where are your kids at 11 o'clock at night?
Well, yeah, that's the first
one. And the thing of it is, they already know the age of the kids, and we're like, again, parents got to do some parenting. And when you go ahead and say it's a total of 10 kids, your kid's just left with 8 kids and they're out for the last 4 hours.
And then my next question is are these isolated to a specific area, or are we seeing these town-wide, or can we station an officer on patrol?
Again, we've actually had the kids riding the bicycles in the middle of the road, that group during the summertime. We haven't had calls, into school, and now we have 2 nights in a row. So we're talking about the Saturday and the Sunday. So
and
you have quite a few people who have situations happen and don't call.
Right.
And, again, they speak to their neighbors, and they came to my house, and they came to my house, and they're not reporting. We need the phone calls to happen, and we need the parents to go ahead and make sure they know where their kids are.
I do want to point out that it is not always the same handful of kids. Like it's
No, it's different.
When you have any of the trends,
variety.
So I'm just going to ask.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to ask the question. Gaskell, what does the code say about a curfew?
Well,
Or the charter, whatever.
The mayor and council can enact a curfew. I don't have the code with me. I'll get that answer.
I imagine it's under the authority of the council, but it's probably
Was it
not
just the
addressed
mayor, or does it
elsewhere.
need a?
No, I'll get something.
I empathize with you, but I think a curfew is here, right? Like, I'd like to maybe work on some more enforcement stuff if possible. You all are doing a great job sharing the stuff with the police department, but Curfew's a little
That's
here,
fine.
we'd like to.
Want to start the conversation,
Yeah,
like,
thank
it's
you.
gotten really bad.
We appreciate that.
And that's why I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah.
So should that happen in any other time or this, Chief, what does that mean for your folks? Like if we say a curfew, 11:30, well, what is that? I mean, does that really change your operations or anything like that?
Oh, definitely would go ahead and change the whole thought process. And in those type of situations, we have kids going from one place to another place, and you have to go ahead and work on curtailing that.
I'm just asking, because I'm just asking the questions.
In this situation, we definitely know, and again, we have the Halloween season coming around, so we need to
And
have
it's
the
on
parents
weekend this
really
year.
get involved in this. And as I said, just the kids running, all you have to do is run around the corner and you're running in the back of a car. They're all on Broad Street. You know, when I talk about inside on a small street, we're talking about one of the heavier ways.
He called like last week or the week before because they were jumping in front of cars.
It is,
Yeah, they
it's
were
not,
being idiots.
it's not 20 feet from my front door into the road.
Don't you have
And
gate
it-
in the front too?
It's
No,
small, no,
we took
no,
it down.
yeah, no gate any longer. But if one of these clowns tripped when a car's coming as they're running away, that's it, man, good game.
Is it legal to like proactively, say you saw like a couple of children walking down, I say children, young adults, walking down in town, is it legal to say, hello, what is your name? And
It is.
it's great to see you,
That-
down writing your name down?
And that's, no, and again, you can ask for the name, and when they say, never mind, see you bye, it's bye, see you bye.
But that too, like, can we record an interaction with somebody? Like if I see Gaskell as a child down there.
We record all of them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like-
it automatically happens. We have, and again, we have contact with kids and the kids. If we
Like
had
scare
their
them.
picture, we definitely know who every one of them were.
Yeah, but scare them and knowing you.
I reached out
we see
to
you.
the State Farm office because the first incident on Saturday night, where it happened 3 times in a row, the kids kept coming back. They were behind the town center between Worcester Youth, so there is a camera back there, but so I reached out to Claudia at State Farm, but I haven't gotten anything back. So I don't know who owns the building, who is responsible.
So they're congregating behind.
Around and in that whole, or in the four-way. They're just hanging in the four, like in the summertime, they would just be in the middle of Broad Street in the four-way, just yelling, talking, just hang out, which is fine, but you're in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night. Like, and we have our windows open, so we
These
can
little
hear
dudes are
them.
out knocking on doors at 11, 12 o'clock.
Dudes and dudettes.
Yeah.
Well, whatever, the combination
Yeah.
thereof, when they should be out.
Right, and
Or
that's
at
when
least
we'll
somebody
call,
else's
because
gate.
that's when they actually affect us. When they're just in the middle of the road, like, unless the other night when they were jumping out, like, then we call for that, but otherwise, they're just kids and they'll move off eventually. But now they're literally kicking down our door, trying
We-
to.
I really don't want to call you for every little thing that
But
I
we
hear out my
log in,
window,
yeah.
Chief. I really don't, and I try desperately not to.
Chief, prior to the mask, from your cameras, could you identify any of the children?
Oh, you can fully see their face, it's very clear.
So.
I don't know who they are, but you can see it very
I
clearly.
bet you the internet can figure out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was just thinking,
Well, I
maybe if I
think we have-
misunderstood what you
Thank
said
you.
earlier, but is there a reason you didn't want to go to posting pictures? Whether it's the police department posting the pictures or the private citizen?
Right.
Can you do that?
I say put the picture up.
Yes, it's been done over the
Yeah.
summer, the
If they're on
resident
the
on William
street,
Street
they're
posted
open
the
to
video.
public view.
Aren't we making contact with their parents?
If they know who they
If we
are.
knew parents, so if we know who they were, we'd make contact with parents.
You don't know who they
There's no
are.
question about that.
But I mean, my advice, if it's legal and it's not, you're not breaking the law, if you see somebody's face, put the picture online. Let the power of social media
Just
help
let me
find the
come there
parents.
first.
If they're on the street, they're open to anybody viewing
We
them
figure-
at any time.
We figure if
So-
they're trespassing and making a menace of themselves, that we come to the authority first, but.
Speaking of that, have you posted your property? Like, I know, that-
Trespassing, no.
I'm just saying, like, it might be helpful too.
Because it did
Does
quiet
that give
down as
teeth
soon
to
as we
you?
put cameras up, because
We-
one
like,
day.
again,
oh,
their
they
actions
got
are
cameras.
unlawful.
They left.
By
Hold on,
themselves.
one second.
Their actions are unlawful.
The children's actions are
Okay.
awful.
Yeah. It's not a matter of warning them off. They're,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the chief and Gaskell said that you can legally post these little dudes' faces or do that, so whatever you want to refer to them as delinquents,
I've
put it
got
out
That's a better
there.
one,
got
yeah.
a
Put
handful
it
of
out
references
there.
ready for them.
Yeah.
Well, and even the pictures with masks, if I was a parent and said, that looks an awful
Yeah,
lot
you
like
can
my
see the
child's
full
jacket.
body. I just bought those shoes last week.
Yeah, you know?
Well, that's the thing, I mean, so to take it away from, as a citizen, I wouldn't recommend that they put it up on their own personal Facebook page. I just think you kind of, but if the Berlin Police Department were to put something on their Facebook page reminding people of the laws, or if it is unlawful, which you say it is, it's also the humanity, the courtesy factor, you know, I mean.
But Steve, keep banging on my door, I'm putting a picture of you.
Well, I hear you. But you have on Washington Street when we lived there. It was typically always about this time of year, Halloween and stuff. But I get it, you know, kids are past probably the napping time, but you still, it's this disruption.
Yeah, James is on highlight at 4 a.m. the other night, Monday night. So last night, what day? So I don't know. But last night, he like started yelling, Dad, they're out burning it, because he heard the wind knock something over. So he was you're really cute. It's okay.
It's, I mean, and after that, you're up for a good 2 or 3 hours, so you're shopping the next day.
Sure.
But,
I mean, I'm just thinking it's a PSA kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think so, from a like TikTok trend and whatnot, yes. From an individual's face, have at it, post them.
Yes, and
That's what I feel.
and allow us as your neighbors and community members, when we see them, when we're at Island Creamery, and say, didn't I just see your face yesterday? And if you know I know your mother, take your behind on before I call her again. You know what I'm saying? Put it out there. So
That's the one thing with growth,
help
right? Like back in the day, people knew who we were. They knew where to find us. Like now, sometimes there's some kids uptown, I don't know who they are. But I would also recommend maybe having a conversation with the officers, like some proactive, you see the student, or the children out there.
it's already done.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Scare them a little bit.
And I mean, I don't know if in the meantime, like, we can post, that's fine, that's not easy, but like, in the meantime, should an officer hang around that area
Talk
between
offline with the
11
chief.
and, yeah, like,
All right. Thank you. And I think it is, everything that we discussed is being done. And,
Well, yeah.
and some other things.
yeah, I mean, I will say, as soon as you call them, they're there, so.
Always grateful, Chief, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Any
Good
other
night.
You too, man. Hopefully a peaceful night. Any other comments from the public? Yes, Barry.
I just got a quick
Just
question.
name and street name, we know
I'm
each
sorry.
other.
Mary Ledlowski, West.
And it's helpful if you want to come up here. Sorry,
That's all right.
no microphone back there.
Mary Ledlowski, Westminster Drive. I just have a question on the stormwater. Thank you, Abbey Pond, that needs to be done. But I am concerned, sorry, Darrell, there's millions of gallons of water that still sit on Westminster, on the ditches on both sides of the street behind the houses. And that's just one part of it, that never even make it to that pond.
Right.
So if we spend the money like to redo this pond, which is great for the water that's already getting there, there's still an issue, there's still water that comes down from Upshur and Tingle that doesn't make it to, there's a pond there on Tingle that doesn't fill up. And the water that still sits on Westminster, and this is only half of Westminster, that doesn't make it to that pond. Are we wasting the money by trying to fix a problem that is, all the water's not there yet?
So I think that's a better question for Darrell. But hey guys, if you don't mind, let's take the conversation to the hallway because it's difficult to hear a little bit. But Darrell, did you hear the question?
I did. I'm happy to stay after and
Okay.
catch up with you more.
Okay.
And
Thank
explain where we are with the project and get a better feel from, and then even reach out. So, yeah,
Okay.
happy to.
And Mary, this is the water that flows through your backyard.
Yeah, it's, well, okay, there's two ditches, 1 through 8 on Westminster has a ditch on one side of the road. And then there's nothing, I think it's 9, 10, and part of 11. And then on the other side of the road, there's a ditch that backs up to Worcester Prep. And I know, like, from past conversations, like, part of the problem's been, like, at least on the ditch on the other side of the road, or at least for Worcester Prep, some of that stormwater issue was given to Worcester County, like what they did with the the athletic complex. And Steve's been great. I mean, we've contacted him, they've jumped right on it or whatever. But there's still a huge ditch back there. And even today, like cutting through that pathway that the kids use to get over to go to Buckingham, you've got places where that ditch is completely full. like one section, and then 6 inches over, there's not an ounce, it's dry. But see, there's millions of gallons of water that sit on the houses that are on West Street that back up to like my side of Westminster, and then all the houses there where those people were given permits, there's sheds, there's cinder blocks, there's flower, rose gardens, swimming pools, there's everything in the world in that ditch where the water's not gonna flow. It's not gonna make it. So it just a concern.
In the scope of that project, it's helpful for Darrell to understand that, because he is.
Oh, poor Darrell, I've chased him down when he's sick.
It's okay, but we really appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Thank you for staying.
Well, thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, Mary. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the council. We'll start with Vice President Barrett.
Has there been any consideration or any action taken toward ditch maintenance? Last I heard, it was an equipment issue and things of this nature, so just where.
I can tell you that they explored the equipment that they would need to perform the work, and it has a 6-digit price tag. They also would experience problems in the particular area that you brought to the attention of being able to actually get to the ditch with that equipment. So it's not a dead subject, but we're talking about in excess of $200,000.
And if there's anything we can do to help you.
You just think we expect property owners to maintain these ditches, and it seems to be beyond our reach. My second question is, well, it's a comment. For those of you that are familiar with Rehart Berlin, there was a testimonial on concerning baked desserts. And after reading that, I wanted to just jump up and go buy some of those cream puffs because it was fantastic.
Did you buy some?
No, I'm diabetic.
That just makes me ready.
But it was really pleasing to read that some customer took that time to provide their positive opinion of their stay here in the town of Berlin based on cream puffs. That's all I have.
Very nice. Councilmember.
Two things. Is there any word or update from the state on the sidewalk project for Ocean City Boulevard?
They did during the RCN meeting. Go ahead.
What do we got?
We had an update during our site visit because we had all of our friends from the District 1 State Highway Administration talking about the plans that they need, the studies that need to be done that will be conducted between now and the end of this calendar year. So we don't have anything new from them, but it's on the top of their agenda.
We're also trying to sift through whether their portion of their study includes identifying the easements. If not, we've gotten some numbers on that as well, and we'll move forward with that if it assists the project. But if it's duplicative, we'd like to let them handle the cost.
We did a really in-depth site visit and spent a lot of time on the intersection of 113 and Old Ocean City Boulevard, but also drove down all the way to Westview so that there was just even more energy and attention drawn to the need for the sidewalks.
So it is being
there.
worked on.
It is, but it's still a state highway. It's still
Gotcha. No, I understand. I just want to make sure it doesn't get left on the back burner. The second question in regards to town hall renovations, that's coming up, correct? Do we have final construction plans? Or
She will be here the 27th, I think the next
They
meeting.
went back and forth. I couldn't tell if it was the first meeting in November or the second.
I think
meeting.
it's now, I think it's November.
Okay.
Remember, she said she
Yes,
wouldn't be
you're
ready
right.
for the next
Right.
one, but she'll be ready to one.
She'll be here November 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't put any RFPs out for
No.
demolition of this place or?
Not yet. And
It'll all be included. We're not going to do separate.
No, I
But
understand.
but hold on, to answer your question, the RFP is not going to be done on the 10th.
Right.
The 10th is going to be an update as to where things stand. We were thinking December, we're probably looking more like push January or February. That's right. So,
And will there be plans available?
there are plans available, there have been available, you can stop at customer service, you just can't, we're not taking pictures of the plans and putting them online. And we're asking anybody that looks at them to not take a picture and then try to export that somewhere, just for safety concerns.
So when they come in, when you come in to pay your bill, or have questions about what you've heard tonight in tonight's meeting about the increase coming in January, stop, take a breath, look at the plans, right?
Yeah, sure.
And will we be having a future conversation about the 50% or 30%?
Yes, but we probably will have that summer-ish.
Yeah.
Councilman Nichols?
I don't think I have much to say. You know, hush, Mr. Grill. We're moving into the holiday season, which is an exciting time here in Berlin, which starts again with this Halloween and whatnot. I hope that these folks who are watching this meeting or who listen to the paper or do whatever they do, take heed, check your house, make sure that the children that belong to you are in your house. Because I have to tell you, I don't know how kind everyone in this town is going to be to continuous knocks on their door, ding-dong ditching in the middle of the night. It's not cute and it's not cool. And I have to tell you, if I knew who these children were personally, I definitely would be calling your parents.
That's the educator in you.
It's the truth.
Got it. Councilmember Orris.
So now a little shaken up after talking to Shanika there, but no, just a couple of things, and it's been a month. I just wanted to clarify, or not clarify, I just wanted to confirm with Natalie, the electric credit has already shown up on the bills, but it was anticipated part 1 of 2. So
Yes, sir.
the next one will be like in the spring?
Whenever they will release the funds.
Whatever, okay.
I don't have the confirmed date for that. They have said it's going to be closer to the spring.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. And then I actually had a question from a resident, and this ties in, I think, to the so is the reconnecting granted RCN?
Reconnecting communities and neighborhoods.
Reconnecting neighborhoods, RCN.
Okay, so the question was, and this was on Flower Street, and it was a question / concern that there's some students and folks who walk to Stephen Decatur Middle, and I know that that's part county and part town. I'm going to defer, or maybe if Councilmember Vice President Burrell or Nichols can chime in here, but the question I have is it possible that could be an area that can be looked at for sidewalks or some sort of safety as part of that RCN, because we're
So
connecting?
the town is going to be, it's going to be comprehensively reviewed as far as, we're not just going to look at the 113 corridor, that's the main obstacle to overcome. But we want to make sure people can get from get around all the neighborhoods and to places that are either government buildings like schools or town hall or libraries, as well as like healthcare and stuff like that. So part of the area that was analyzed is actually going from downtown Berlin and in our communities to the schools, like middle school and high school.
And also the connectivity to the schools, the Stephen Decatur schools specifically was mentioned again and again.
We're not just.
They have that on very much.
So that's, I mean, the Flower Street side is.
I can't swear to that, but it's connectivity to the schools.
I'm hoping that that's a consideration, because I know that they would say
Go ahead,
that
Sarah.
that's mountains
I
and
hope
counties.
Sarah would-
You know what, I will, we just had our follow-up meeting where we got all of the notes, and so I can do a briefing for all of you. I think that would probably be more insightful. You'll get the full picture, but I would just add that they are really studying the entire Old Ocean City Boulevard corridor, which would go keeping kids safe walking on Route 50, like down to Tractor Supply into the gym and everything there as well. That's like also a concern, and that we would be able to consider adding sidewalks throughout the entire corridor of Old Ocean City Boulevard to the high school, all the way to Westview.
Okay, well,
But
yeah, I
so
would appreciate that.
that's one way of connecting.
So that
the kids
does
to
it
the high
round the
school.
corner
Yeah,
to the side that he mentioned, the Flower Street.
Yes, but
Zip up road.
again, there's the first thing you said was it's part county and part
Right.
town, so we'll have to take that into consideration as well. But it's all on the map, which was really an amazing experience after all of the time that we've spent. The grant that we were awarded in March of 2024 to finally have the consultants here in person in the town of Berlin, enjoying Island Creamery at the end of our site visit, but really getting the full view. We did a tour. The chief really helped us navigate around, and we gave everyone a full view of all the areas of Berlin, all the way to Germantown School. You know, we went as far north, south, east, and west as I think was necessary, so that we were able to really take advantage of their expertise. And we spent a lot of time on the ground. They spent a lot of time in ditches on the side of 113, measuring around Henry Park, around the hospital, around all of the intersections across 113. And I think one of the best things I heard afterward was that our colleagues at District 1 were really inspired by what they saw at some of the intersections that they saw as low-hanging fruit and opportunities to improve the intersections even before we're implementing any of the grant in the future. They know they could be doing more here as well.
Our District 1 office gets accolades though for doing great
Yes.
work, so we're not saying that. And
I
we did.
think that they were on the ground with us in a way that they haven't been before, and they do an amazing job, and they're so responsive whenever we reach out to them. But I think that they saw opportunities that they didn't even know existed by being a part of the site visit.
And when we started the conversation at the police station with the whole group, you can tell that they were a little defensive in the beginning, but then it got constructive. So that was good.
Very constructive.
I'm glad to hear that they went through the Germantown corridor as well, because I mean, that's one of the most deadly sections of 113 ever.
Yeah.
So hearing that they actually went, not just stopping in one or two hot spots, but actually went through the most treacherous and dangerous areas.
They went because we took them.
I'm glad you took
Thank you,
them.
Mary.
Good job. Jack, anything else?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Councilmember Green?
Just have one thing. I wanted to ask this group to consider, I guess it'd be through the mayor's office, but in Worcester County, there's a current proposal to increase the room tax countywide. And for Berlin, we have $90,000 in room tax that we get a year budgeted. For Berlin, it would, according to the treasurer's office, $22,000 increase if the room tax was increased. And there's some politics at play. I don't think we have to get involved in that necessarily, but there will be 2 public hearings coming up. The county code is unique in that they have a mechanism in place that they have to have a public hearing to enable the increase to take place, and then another public hearing to allow the increase to take place, which is kind of duplicitous. But again, for Berlin, it's not a tremendous amount of money, it's $22,000, but it also would be something over the course of 10 years really starts to add up. And to me, it really is, personally, I believe it's a no-brainer. It would be tourism paying for tourism. And we all know Berlin has rising costs, so I think it's something that Berlin should support. There will be opportunities, again, for public hearing, whether or not it's something that we do as a letter from the mayor and council. I'd be happy to attend a public hearing if it was necessary to read the letter. Let's just believe it's really something that, it's been something I've been following for a number of years because it's been on the table. And again, there's, to me, it's just a win-win for Berlin. Could mean $22,000 a year in new room tax revenue. We don't get a ton of room tax revenue in Berlin, but there's at least 2 hotels on in the pipeline. So wanted to see what this group thought about that. If it was something that the group wanted to get behind, I think the town of Berlin should support a room tax increase. So it can be considered. There will be opportunities again for public hearing in the near future.
May I? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I don't see that's really just a win for Berlin. I mean, extra 22,000, that's half a tax rate. So
Tourism paying.
tourism paying.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm good with it.
I mean, if we have to have the hotel, why not profit from it?
Right.
Really
We'll draft a
I'm
letter.
happy to help in the draft.
Yeah,
So I don't
please.
want to approve something, like ask for something but I'm happy to throw a draft your way. And
If you've got something in mind, it'd be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Do you
good.
think the politics are going to continue to play into this thing?
No,
That's
honestly.
the Ocean City thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's some bargaining chip, it seems like we play in. But you know, if we could steer clear of that, you know, because I think we just
Oh, yeah, we're not getting
look
into
at
that.
our, you know, isolating the town of Berlin, I mean, it's an impact, you know, be a positive.
I mean, from a municipal level, we have very few levers to pull.
Right.
So,
That's how I feel too, you know, we're always fighting to get that, we usually have one revenue number that goes up, right? If we can get another one, it'd be helpful.
I mean, it's sizable even for the county and for
Yeah.
Ocean City. And I don't know about any others, but I mean, ours, as Jack noted, is half depending on the tax rate. so.
For Pocomoke, it's 38,000, you know, for us, it's 21% increase.
Yeah.
Conservatively, but.
21,000-ish.
For Berlin, yeah, but it's,
Yeah.
so, yeah, $22,000 increase in property tax revenue. No, sorry, no tax revenue.
We'll work together on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
So then comments from the mayor's office. Sarah, go ahead.
Just two things I wanted to add. One is that on October 21st at 9 a.m., you all are invited to plant some more trees in Stephen Decatur Park. I'll follow up with a calendar invite, but it's part of the Keep Berlin Cool initiative, and a very special planting of 2,600-year-old tree seeds and old growth. What's the name of that tree? A really old tree that we'll be able to plant, and you are all invited to join the Berlin Horticultural Advisory Committee, members of the Park Commission, and Dr. Joan Maluk, who's being honored at that time as well.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the seeds are 2,600?
Yes, yes, they are.
A press release did go out last week, which is also on the town website, just for more information about it.
Yes,
Keep
they're
Berlin Cool.
one of
That
the
is-
oldest trees on the whole eastern seaboard.
Sounds like
Pretty slit.
I know.
Hopefully they grow. I said this to Sarah, I said, please, like, we're gonna plant the tree, like, let's make sure it grows.
Have a little cage around it.
Yeah, I don't know the exact
Maybe
number.
put a couple of new seeds in there.
Kelsey, you need to spend some time figuring that
I would still need it in the spring.
out. Oh, Mary, you're not gonna be out there watching?
They're gonna be saplings, right?
I don't know for sure.
I mean, I think they'll only be seedling, maybe, whatever they're called.
Focus, right, focus.
Yes, yes,
No,
it's
no, no.
9 a.m. on Tuesday.
Yes, on the 21st.
21st.
right, we've
I
got
want to
busy.
make sure that you know that we've added 2 dates to the expanded parking subcommittee. There were a number of people who attended the last meeting that was really directed to merchants and business owners in the town of Berlin. We've expanded the subcommittee to include a number of people who really wanted to be involved, and so we are meeting for the first time on November 12th and then the second time on December 3rd. So I think whatever we're able to accomplish, knowing that we have 2 meetings scheduled out through the end of this year, should be more productive.
With the goal to have a plan by the time we enter the new year.
Yes.
So hopefully something.
And that's just for that.
For that
committee.
subcommittee, yeah. And that would be at 8:30 in the morning,
Be there or be square.
please.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
That's all, thank you.
Thanks. So Mary stole my thunder a little bit, not that it's a bad thing, but the RCN group that you put together and the town staff. Sarah, you wanna look at it? No, it's all good. No, it's perfect. But the planning that went into the RCN site visit and the town staff and everybody that came together was a great turnout. I wasn't able to stay the whole day, but to see everybody take the group around and travel to see the entire town and the challenges that we face. Perfect. Arusa, thank you for coming as well. It's great to see you. So that, good job, Sarah.
Thank you, and thank you really to all of my colleagues, the department heads who came and supported us. I really appreciated having the access for everybody who was here to be able to answer questions. You know, they had questions about zoning, and we had planning and zoning, Megan from Maps. I mean, we were really, really well prepared, and it was really my pleasure to organize. Thank you.
Did a great job.
Thank you.
The next thing is Halloween. Every year, it's.
October
we get-
31st.
Correct, it's not a it's not a town sanctioned event. Halloween is the 31st, so if it rains on the 31st, we're not moving Halloween, we never move Halloween, just so that everybody's along the same pathway. Are we doing candy checks? I know we've done that before in the past.
We're trying to see if we can have town hall. We'll have it out if we are going to be here at town hall.
We'll push that out if it's something that we'll do. I'm just trying to think of the questions that typically come in
Well,
closer to Halloween.
The way I always describe Halloween trick-or-treating is it is a voluntary transaction between you and your home and a child in a costume. It's not a town event, it's not,
Light on, children don't. Light off, children generally don't go.
Light
You
off,
don't want to
stay off
participate.
people's grass.
That's right. Don't kick on doors.
Don't kick doors.
And don't leave the lights on because your electricity
Yes.
comes.
Okay. So, on that wavelength, the candy, if you want to donate candy, the drop-off is at the Atlantic Hotel front desk for the Washington Street group.
I heard they do something.
Yeah, they do things.
Washington,
But-
I've heard of something.
So, yeah, so if you want to, because it's all, it's not town sponsored, it's all, community folks, residents and doing it. And I double checked with the fire company, because I think they also do something on Main, and they might be collecting candy as well, but definitely the hotel is for Washington Street. So,
And are we putting up barricades?
that's my double check.
Well, for Washington Street, definitely.
Washington and part of Jefferson, right? Like, don't we stop at a little? Yeah,
Yes,
like Grace.
yes.
Sort of, yeah, isolate that neighborhood.
All right. Next, Christmas, 'tis the season, right around the corner. Do you want to share kind of what we have going on and what we're partnering with the schools on?
Already, or yes? I would love to
Well, I
share.
thought we reached out to the schools, why not share that?
Home Depot and Walmart already have their Christmas trees up.
It
Holiday
is the
stuff.
season. I was sitting in front of the fireplace this afternoon, I was like.
This is
Countdown to
the most
Christmas.
fun part of my job is when I get to execute one of Mayor Zach's visions, and he has a vision of oyster garlands adorning the town's Christmas tree this year. And not just any oyster, but oyster shells that are decorated by all of the students at all 5 schools in the town of Berlin. So I have reached out to every art teacher. I have been coordinating with art teachers to coordinate with the county to get approval to be able to bring this voluntary art project to the schools. We have volunteers in place, and we are moving ahead to engage all the students who would be interested in painting oyster shells that don't have to be Christmas themed. They can be, any piece of art that moves you or that you're motivated to paint on your shell. And we are collecting the shells, and we'll be working on getting them prepped and ready and distributed to the schools, about 500.
Just to clarify.
And not just students, anybody that wants to participate, we can make some shells available.
Yes, we'll have shells available in town hall as well.
Well, I want to get to that in a minute.
Just to clarify, when Sarah says we are collecting shells, we are not inviting you to bring us buckets of oyster shells.
We don't want your after Saturday or something.
No.
Thank you. But Kelsey, thank you publicly to you
Yeah,
and John both. Go ahead.
It is Dan Worrell. He owns Fallen Pine Oyster Company, and he is out of the Chincoteague Bay, and he has donated all of the oyster shells.
And I have 2 huge bushel baskets that
Yeah.
are John's favorite oyster baskets.
Yeah. He said I left the crappiest baskets because I don't want them back.
So I've been playing around with drilling holes in them to see how it's working.
It's a process,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
working well, but I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we had an idea of how difficult this might be.
Right.
So I think it's working out well, but I think we're going to need to enlist some friends and some help with some, I call it Ryobi, my son calls it Ryobi, whatever the commercial says. Bring your power tools, we might have to have a drilling party.
Did it involve like a bucket of water and a sponge?
Yeah.
Well, I have
They're actually very
some-
soft. You can drill them without.
Yeah, but I've been soaking them, I haven't been to soaking clean though. We're trying to get this thing, now, segue, actually, these don't smell so bad, Kelsey, whatever John did.
They are sun bleached.
We're pretty good.
They've been out for a while.
Right, and now, the other thing is, we're working on a new, this year, some of the feedback we received, the tree's not bright enough. Sam and his crew are gonna put 3 times the amount of lights on it. They're gonna put.
Are they heavy?
The other feedback we have received.
Are the oyster shells heavy?
No, the lights.
The lights.
But it's not bright enough, so we've shared that, we need more lights. I don't know if we need uplighting, we need the lights that go around the tree. This is an appropriate place to put the Christmas tree lights, is on the Christmas tree. The other thing is, the topper is going to hopefully be changed this year. We're working with the tech school to build a anchor. We're going to give them some creative freedom.
Sylvia Gallo?
So we're working on that. The other cool part is, our Christmas tree vendor is going to be a little different. So this Christmas tree, Alan's going to scout it tomorrow, I think, right?
He actually is leaving at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay. And this Christmas tree is all the way on the other side of Maryland.
It's almost in Ohio.
Almost.
Oh
And it is literally on the other side of the state. So Ivy's working with, Alan's going to go up and scout it, see if he can find one he likes. These trees have been in places like the Supreme Court,
White House.
the White House, in, I think, Korea was the furthest one I found. That they've had a
Are we
tree.
bartering for this tree?
No, well, this is pretty good. And then the other cool part is that it's going to be a different tree. I think it could be fun. It won't be a Christmas bush, it'll be a Christmas tree. Some years we've had a little squatty tree, we're going to have a Christmas tree.
Triangular
Right.
tree.
And the other part is that Ivy's working on a banner for the side of the tree, so it'll make its trek across and come to Berlin.
That's the entire state.
Yeah, I mean, but the interesting part is we did not seek out the distance of the tree. Alan is always the procurer.
I said, it sought you out.
It came to find us, it found us. No, but Alan, I didn't know this, so this is something interesting I should share with everybody. Apparently there's a Maryland Christmas Tree Society or Association.
Being an arborist, he's a part of this.
So Alan reached out, and there are very few people that sell the size tree that we're after.
Right.
So part of that is that one of them required us to make a decision with very short notice and not even seeing the tree. I said, Alan, I don't feel comfortable with that. And Alan didn't either. So this is one of the vendors that is not going to make us buy a tree sight unseen.
Right.
So the supply of vendors is very narrow and small. So that's the reason why the distance. But hopefully we're going to end up with a beautiful tree. It's going to be a little different this year.
And beautiful oyster shell garland.
Yep, with more lights.
By all the children in the town of Berlin.
We're going to give it a try, right? So, but I think we're putting a good effort out there, but it should be a fun year.
So, food for thought.
Okay.
I mean, we should just take a
The
page.
oysters.
We should just take a page from Tay and just open up the daggone Christmas tree farm.
So
and
you-
harvest our own Christmas tree.
I was almost done with my comments. However.
Everybody's stealing your thunder.
So what we discussed is that how about we start planting some Christmas trees? We've got a lot of land over at the spray sites. We are looking with Jamie and Jimmy and everybody. And as a matter of fact, Alan, part of his homework assignment is to figure out if we can start growing said beautiful trees in our spray site. With the idea that, and you may think I'm crazy, but it's all right. With the idea that hopefully we plant a certain number of trees and then we can have a day where everybody can go out and cut down their own Christmas tree from Berlin.
And then, since we're planting trees on October 21st, we'll be pros at planting trees. And then we'll
Yeah.
We want to plant trees that live. I'm going to go with some that are
A little more mature.
Yes, so we've got a lot of cool things going on.
You're like Father Christmas.
Something like that. I just enjoy Christmas, all right? It's a fun time. And we've got our first menorah.
Yes, we
go ahead.
are, it still hasn't been delivered, so I was afraid to, announce it. I don't know why it's on a really slow boat, but we have, the town of Berlin has purchased its own menorah so that we can light it every year. And it's on the calendar this year for the 5th night of Hanukkah, which is December 18th at 5 o'clock at the Inn Berlin, just like we've done for the last 2 years, which is really exciting.
All right, I think that's all my holiday updates. All right, comments from the press? Nothing? All right. You gonna paint an oyster shell?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe I'll bring some to mayor council meeting.
There you are.
Anybody who wants.
Perfect, so I've got a,
So
yeah, so,
Yeah.
so not the back, but
Move to adjourn.
yes.
Second.
Vice President Burrell, Councilmember Nichols, second, all in favor? Aye. Good.
I got Dancing with the Stars to watch.